Get your hands where I can see them. Now the voice slices through the quiet hum of the engine. It is gravelly, impatient, and dripping with an authority that expects no argument. A flashlight beam cuts a blinding white circle in her rearview mirror, pinning her gaze. Dr. Alani Reeves keeps her hands exactly where they are, on the steering wheel, at 10 and 2, just like she learned in driving school 25 years ago. The officer's shadow looms, blocking the streetlight. A sharp rap on the driver's side window makes her flinch, but only on the inside. On the outside, she is a statue of calm. She powers down the window. The cold night air rushes in, carrying the scent of asphalt and exhaust. License and registration, it is not a request. Of course, officer, her voice is steady low. She reaches slowly, deliberately, for the glove compartment, narrating her every move. I am reaching for my vehicle registration and proof of insurance. I told you to keep your hands where I can see them. The voice is louder now, sharper. They were on the steering wheel, as is standard procedure, she replies, her tone still even. To retrieve the documents you requested, I must move them. A beat of silence. The officer seems taken aback by the clinical precision of her response. But it only lasts a moment. Just hurry it up, she hands him the papers, then retrieves her wallet from her simple cloth bag on the passenger seat. Again, she moves with a slow, practiced deliberation that seems to irritate the officer even more. He snatches the items from her hand. The flashlight beam drops from her face to the driver's license, then back up to her face. His lips curl into a sneer. Alani Reeves, you a long way from home. Alani, I was visiting my mother, she says. She lives in the hospice, just off this exit. Don't get smart with me, he barks. Do you know why I pulled you over? I do not, she says, her eyes meeting his in the reflection of the mirror. I was observing the speed limit, and I signaled my lane change more than 100 feet before the turn. You swerved, he lies. The lie is blatant, ugly. Looked like you were under the influence. Step out of the car, this is the moment. The pivot point. She knows exactly what is happening. She has read thousands of pages of testimony describing this exact scenario. It is a script, and he is playing his part perfectly. She remains seated. Officer, with all due respect, I have not been drinking. I would be happy to take a breathalyzer test right here. His face darkens. Rage flashes in his eyes. It is the rage of a man whose absolute authority has been questioned, even politely. I said step out of the car before she can react. Her door is wrenched open. A large, rough hand grabs her arm, the one wearing a simple, worn hoodie. He yanks her from the seat. She stumbles, but catches her balance on the wet pavement. The sudden violence sends a jolt through her, but her expression remains a mask of placid control. This is important. Her composure is a weapon. She is wearing faded jeans, old sneakers, and a gray university sweatshirt. Her hair is pulled back in a simple tie. There is nothing about her that signals power or status. To this man, she is exactly what he wants her to be, a target. An easy statistic. This is not her world. Not anymore. For the past 6 weeks, her world has been one of mahogany desks and hushed conferences. A world of titles and deference. Of being addressed as Madam Attorney General. She took this drive alone tonight for a reason. After signing off on the final draft of a sweeping police reform initiative, the irony of which is now almost suffocating, she needed to clear her head. She needed to see her mother, to sit in the quiet room and hold her hand, to feel like a daughter instead of a symbol. She chose her old, reliable sedan over the black state-issued car with its driver. She wanted to feel normal, anonymous. The universe, it seems, has a cruel sense of humor. In the passenger seat of the patrol car, a young officer shifts uncomfortably. His name is Evans. This is his 3rd week riding with Officer Miller. Every shift has been a masterclass in petty tyranny. Evans joined the force to help people. Miller seems to think the job is about breaking them. Evans watches Miller shove the woman against the side of her own car. She does not resist. She just stands there, her back straight, her head held high. There is a strange dignity in her stillness that makes Miller's aggression look even more grotesque. You think you're smart, huh? Miller sneers, his face inches from hers. One of those educated types, using big words. Think the law protects you. The law should protect everyone, officer, Alani says. Her voice is a quiet force against his bluster. We'll see about that. He begins to pat her down, his hands rough and invasive. It is a violation meant to humiliate, and she knows it. She closes her eyes for a fraction of a second, focusing on her breathing. She is not a victim. She is a witness. She is gathering data. Miller, Evans says into the car's radio link, his voice quiet. She offered to take a breathalyzer. We don't have probable cause for this. You're the rookie, Evans. You watch and learn. Miller's voice crackles back, a static-filled command. Probable cause is what I say it is. Evans grips the dashboard. This feels wrong. Deeply wrong. He has seen Miller bully and intimidate, but this is different. The woman is not scared. She is observing. It unnerves him. Miller finishes the pat-down, finding nothing. Frustration radiates from him. He seems personally offended by her compliance, by her lack of fear. He needs to find something, to justify the stop, to validate his own prejudice. He leans into her car, his flashlight beam dancing across the interior. It is clean, uncluttered. A water bottle. A few stray receipts. Then the beam lands on the floor mat. A single white pill. A triumphant grin spreads across Miller's face. Well, what do we have here? He picks it up with 2 fingers. Look at that, Evans. Pills. Just rolling around on the floor. Explains the swerving. Alani looks at the pill. That is an ibuprofen, officer. I have a bottle of them in my bag. I have a headache, I'm sure you do, Miller says, his voice dripping with false sympathy. You're going to have a much bigger one soon. He is escalating. This is the pattern. The initial pretext, the challenge to authority, the physical intimidation, and now, the manufacturing of evidence. It is a textbook case of abuse of power, a case she would personally love to prosecute. She continues to document everything. His failure to identify himself by name or badge number. The illegal search of her person without consent or probable cause. The fabrication of evidence. His body camera is on. She can see the small green light. So is hers, metaphorically. Every detail is being stored, indexed, filed away for future use. Her calm is an irritant. A grain of sand in the gears of his power trip. He wants her to cry, to beg, to scream. He needs her to break. His eyes fall on the passenger seat. On her old, worn leather briefcase. It was a gift from her father when she graduated law school. It has carried her through every major trial of her career. What's in the bag? He demands, pointing. Those are my personal papers, she says, a hint of warning entering her voice for the first time. You do not have a warrant to search my personal belongings. I don't need a warrant when I suspect a crime is in progress, he sneers, reciting the line as if he learned it from a movie. He reaches into the car and grabs the briefcase. This is the breaking point. Not for her composure, but for the line of legality. He has crossed it completely. Officer, I am formally stating that you are conducting an illegal search, she says, her voice clear and loud enough for the bodycam microphone to pick up. I do not consent to this search. Her words are gasoline on his fire. He clicks the latches on the briefcase and flips it open. He turns it upside down. Her papers flutter out, landing on the wet, grimy pavement. Notes for her first major address to the state legislature. Drafts of legal opinions. And a photograph. A faded, cherished photograph of her and her father on the courthouse steps, his arm around her shoulders. It lands face down in a puddle. Something inside her cracks. Not her control, but a dam of patience. The quiet observer has now become the plaintiff. She looks at the ruined photo of her father, the man who taught her that the law was a shield for the powerless. And she looks at this officer, a man who uses it as a club. She takes a deep, steadying breath. I see, she says, her voice devoid of all emotion. Please proceed with the arrest. Miller is momentarily confused. He expected tears, rage. Her cold acceptance is another unexpected move. But his ego quickly fills the space. He believes he has won. He has broken her. You're damn right I'm proceeding, he says. He pulls out his handcuffs. They are cold against her skin as he cinches them tight, far tighter than necessary. He shoves her toward his cruiser. Get in. She slides into the back seat without a word. The door slams shut, a final, metallic sound of capture. He has her now. He is taking her to his precinct. To his world. He thinks he is in complete control. He does not realize he is walking into a trap he has set for himself. The ride to the station is silent. Officer Evans keeps glancing in the rearview mirror, his expression a mixture of anxiety and awe. He has never seen a suspect so composed. It is as if she is not the one being arrested. They arrive at the precinct, a tired brick building reeking of stale coffee and disinfectant. Miller parades her through the main room, his hand on her shoulder, a hunter showing off his prize. A few other officers look up, then quickly look away. They know Miller. They know his reputation. He shoves her toward the booking desk, where a portly, balding sergeant sits, looking bored. Sergeant Kowalski has seen it all, and none of it impresses him anymore. "What you got, Miller?" Kowalski asks without looking up from his crossword puzzle. "Got a real smart mouth here," Miller announces to the room. "DUI possession. Resisting, too." He adds the last charge with a flourish of invention. Alani remains silent. She stands before the high desk, her cuffed hands behind her back, and waits. The entire station is the stage now. The audience is assembled. Kowalski finally looks up. He sees a woman in a hoodie, looking tired but not afraid. "All right, let's get this over with." "Name?" Alani meets his gaze. She speaks clearly, her voice carrying through the quiet hum of the fluorescent lights. "Alani Reeves." Kowalski begins typing the name into the database. "REVS. Occupation," he drones. This is the moment. The reveal. She lets the word hang in the air for a second before she speaks it. "I am the Attorney General for this state." A loud, barking laugh erupts from Officer Miller. "Attorney General? Yeah, right. And I'm the Queen of England." "She's delusional, Sarge." Add that to the list, but Sergeant Kowalski is not laughing. He is staring at his computer screen. His face has gone pale. The color drains from it, as if a plug has been pulled. His fingers are frozen over the keyboard. On his screen is a press release from the governor's office, dated 6 weeks ago. It features a high-resolution, official portrait of a woman in a sharp black suit, her expression confident and commanding. It is the same woman standing in front of him in handcuffs. The headline reads, "Alani Reeves sworn in as first black woman to serve as state attorney general." Miller's laughter falters. He sees the look on Kowalski's face. What is it?" Kowalski slowly turns his screen around. Miller leans in. He sees the photo. He sees the title. He looks from the screen to the woman, then back to the screen. His mouth hangs open. The swagger, the arrogance, the entire edifice of his authority crumbles into dust in a single, silent moment. Shock gives way to a dawning, sickening horror. Disbelief wars with the undeniable truth on the screen. It is a war he is losing badly. "No," he whispers. "No, it can't be." Just then, the door to the captain's office flies open. Captain Hayes, a man who has spent years avoiding trouble, comes rushing out. Kowalski had hit the silent panic alarm under his desk, the one reserved for officer in distress calls. "What the hell is going on out here?" Hayes demands. Then he sees Alani. He had met her once, at a law enforcement gala. He freezes. "Attorney General Reeves?" He stammers, his eyes wide with panic. "My God, what is happening?" Before Miller can form a coherent lie, a new voice cuts through the tension. "Captain," Officer Evans says, stepping forward from the corner where he had been watching. "I was there. I saw the whole thing." He takes a deep breath, the choice made. Integrity over loyalty to a corrupt partner. Officer Miller's actions were not by the book. There was no probable cause. The search was illegal. Evans's statement is a hammer blow, sealing Miller's fate. The corroboration from another officer, a witness in uniform, makes the situation undeniable. Captain Hayes looks at Miller, his face a mask of fury and fear. "Miller, my office." Now he then turns to Alani. "Madam Attorney General, please. Let's get these cuffs off you." "No," Alani says, her voice like ice. "Leave them on. I want to remember how this feels." She looks at the captain, her eyes burning with a cold fire. "And I would like to use your telephone." Uncuffed just moments later against her protestations, Alani stands in the captain's cluttered office. The power dynamic in the room has not just been reversed, it has been annihilated. She is no longer the accused. She is the accuser, the judge, and the jury. Her first call is to Judge Michael Harrison, a towering figure in the state's legal community and the head of the Judicial Review Board. He was her mentor at the university. He answers on the second ring. "Michael," she says, her voice steady. "It's Alani. I'm at the 12th precinct. I've been unlawfully detained and arrested by one of their officers. I need you to come down here. And I need you to authorize a full, independent review of this precinct, effective immediately." There is a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line, followed by a low, dangerous rumble. I'm on my way. Her second call is to the governor. The story is repeated, this time more concisely. The governor's response is a mixture of apoplectic rage and political calculation. He knows a scandal of this magnitude could define his term. Alani, whatever you need, he says. The state police are yours to command. Internal affairs will be there in 20 minutes. Consider them your personal detail. When she hangs up, the room is silent. Captain Hayes is sweating profusely. Officer Miller, who had been brought into the office, is slumped in a chair, his face ashen. The reality of his career-ending, life-altering mistake is crashing down on him. Captain Hayes, Alani says, turning her attention to him. Secure all body camera footage from Officer Miller and Officer Evans for the last 12 hours. Secure all security footage from your precinct's booking area for the last hour. I want it delivered to the state investigators the moment they arrive. Do you understand? Yes, Attorney General, he mumbles. Officer Evans, she says, her tone softening slightly as she looks at the young man. Please write a full and complete statement of everything you witnessed tonight. Do not leave out a single detail. Yes, ma'am, Evans says, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and relief. Within 30 minutes, the precinct is swarming with state troopers and investigators from the Attorney General's office. They move with quiet, ruthless efficiency, cordoning off the booking area as a crime scene and taking possession of servers and video files. Miller is formally read his rights, not for a DUI, but for kidnapping under color of law, evidence tampering, and felony violation of civil rights. He is placed in the back of a state police vehicle, his own world of cuffs and cages now turned against him. The investigation is swift and brutal. Evans's bodycam footage is crystal clear, capturing every sneering word and aggressive move from Miller. Miller's own camera footage, miraculously, is corrupted. The file is unrecoverable. An investigator notes it as presumptive evidence of tampering. But the precinct's own security cameras tell the whole story. The high-definition footage shows Miller shoving Alani, the contempt on his face, the casual cruelty of him appending her briefcase. It is irrefutable. The probe does not stop with Miller. At Alani's direction, the investigators pull his file. It is thick with civilian complaints. Excessive force, illegal searches, racist language. Dozens of incidents, every single one of them dismissed by his direct supervisor, Lieutenant Davis. With the note, exonerated or unfounded, Lieutenant Davis becomes the next target. His records are seized. They reveal a clear pattern of protecting a clique of aggressive officers, burying complaints, and fostering a toxic culture of impunity. He is the enabler, the gear in the machine that allows the rot to spread. By sunrise, the fallout is a full-blown earthquake. Officer Miller is in a holding cell, denied bail. Lieutenant Davis has been suspended and is facing a criminal investigation for obstruction of justice. Captain Hayes has been placed on administrative leave for gross negligence in his command. The 12th Precinct is effectively under the control of the State Attorney General's office. The next day, Alani Reeves stands before a phalanx of cameras and microphones. She is not wearing a hoodie and jeans. She is dressed in a dark, impeccably tailored suit, her hair styled, her expression resolute. She looks every bit the part of the state's chief law enforcement officer. She does not begin by recounting her personal ordeal. She begins by speaking about the law. The law is a promise, she says, her voice resonating with quiet power. It is a promise of equal protection, of fairness, of justice. Last night, that promise was broken. Not just for me, but for every citizen who has ever been judged not by their actions, but by the color of their skin, the car they drive, or the clothes they wear. She lays out the facts of the case, not her case, but the case against a broken system. She announces the immediate implementation of the Reeves Initiative, the very police reform package she finished drafting hours before her arrest. It includes mandatory, automatic review of all use of force incidents by an independent civilian board, a 3-strike policy for substantiated complaints against officers, and a complete overhaul of training protocols. The governor, standing beside her, publicly endorses the entire package, promising to fast-track it through an emergency legislative session. The political gridlock that had stalled the reforms has vanished overnight. She concludes her statement by singling out one person. In the midst of this failure, there was a glimmer of hope. A young officer who, When faced with a choice between loyalty to a corrupt partner and his oath to the Constitution, chose his oath. Officer Evans's integrity is a testament to the fact that good, honorable people still wear the badge. He will be a key advisor in the implementation of our new training academy curriculum. The story is a national firestorm. Miller becomes the face of police misconduct. Evans becomes a reluctant hero, and Alani Reeves becomes a symbol of righteous, unyielding justice. Months later, the changes are no longer just promises. They are reality. The Reeves Initiative is law. The Civilian Oversight Board has real teeth and has already forced the resignation of 2 other chiefs of police in other counties. Body camera footage is now uploaded to a state-controlled, tamper-proof cloud server, inaccessible to local departments for editing. Officer Miller is convicted on all federal charges. His sentencing is a media event. He receives the maximum penalty, 10 years in federal prison. Lieutenant Davis is also convicted of obstruction and receives a 3-year sentence. The culture of impunity at the 12th Precinct is shattered. Officer Evans, now Sergeant Evans, stands before a class of new recruits. He tells them the story of that night, not as a boast, but as a lesson in courage, integrity, and the true meaning of the oath they are about to take. He is a key part of building a new generation of officers. In her spacious corner office, Attorney General Alani Reeves looks out over the city. On her desk, next to a stack of legal briefs, is a newly framed photograph. It is the one of her and her father, painstakingly restored by a specialist. His smile seems to beam with pride. Her work is not over. The system is vast and change is slow, but a foundation has been laid. A powerful blow has been struck. She showed them all that justice is not a privilege for the powerful. It is a right for everyone. And she, Alani Reeves, is here to enforce it. The phone on her desk rings, another case, another challenge. She picks it up, her voice calm and ready. The work continues.